But here's the thing, man. I was looking at Nehemiah and, there's so much. There's so much prophetically about Nehemiah that relates to this house. But like I mentioned earlier, the point, the thing that really stands out to me about what Nehemiah accomplished is that when they rebuilt the walls, it succinctly takes you through the families and the tribes and the people and what area they built. So the story's in the book of Nehemiah, but it's a book of family. It's a book of people coming in and doing their part. I know next Sunday is serve team, and I really am not talking about what we do today. But I'm talking about who we are, the role of who you are. We are the body of Christ. We've talked about that before. I was reflecting on everything we've ever talked about here on Love God this week. We're the body of Christ, right? How can the hand say, I don't need the eye? Blah, blah, blah. We're the body of Christ. He is the head, right? He's the chief cornerstone. We're neatly fit together and built up. That's all the verses y'all have. You don't need them, all right? All that stuff. But it says we're family. And Nehemiah tells them when they're building this wall, and the families are all doing these things. Then he says, and where there's any low places that aren't finished, he puts families in there to guard the low places for the other families. And when they start getting afraid, he says, don't be afraid. Remember God. Remember Psalm 77. Remember the God that makes everything that stands against us tremble and want to run and hide. But he says, don't be afraid. And he says, fight for your sons and your daughters and your wives. And I don't know what else he says, but I just want to expand that. It's a body, it's a family. The walls of that I believe we're called to build are the walls of the church, which is a family. It's the walls of family. Is the church here? Is the church global? Yes. Yes, it is. But we came to build a family here, the body of Christ here in Powell, Tennessee. And it's a family. And sometimes there's low places in the wall of the family. And we have to step in. So I'm not speaking to the buffalo that isolates themselves. That's what the egg was for. But I was thinking about another story we talked about when Ezekiel saw the valley of dry bones, right? And the Lord said, Ezekiel, can these bones live? And Ezekiel said, Lord, only you know. And he says, prophesy over these bones. And he prophesies over the bones. And wind came, right? And what happened? The bones started coming together. And sinews and flesh started covering them. And I had this thought. What if the leg bone wasn't there? What if the leg bone wasn't there when they start coming together? When the prophetic word comes, when the wind blows. And the power to build the body, to build the family is there, but the leg bone in the middle of the dry season, they left and looked for greener grass on the other side somewhere. But what if the leg bone isn't there? It's not about just you finding your place, it's you being in your place. It's not about you being rescued by the herd, it's you being the herd. It's not about you being the family that needs to be connected, it's you standing for the family that needs to be connected. Are you with me? I was thinking about how that family did that and how that family stood there. Who are you supposed to be Uncle Michael to in that unit? Not doing tasks, not serving, not being on teams, not any of that stuff. But what happens if Aunt Liz is not here? And in that family unit, Uncle Rick's supposed to be there. And Jensen needs Uncle Rick to be there. There's something very specific that Uncle Rick does. Papa, Nana, brother, sister. Sometimes we appeal like, you need this, you need this, you need this. I think the greatest assignment is not against us in a mindset of vulnerability and we turn to it. I think the bigger assignment is the pride that says I have connections elsewhere, which is true. And I'm not ignorant. I understand that there's some of you guys are doing more than I can even imagine when you're not in this building. You're connecting with more people than I even see in a week. I understand that this is not the sum of your influence. This is not the sum of who you are. This isn't the highest thing on your agenda. But I'm just saying, for somebody in this room, it might be the highest thing on their agenda for you to be who you're supposed to be in their life. That's what we have to commit to. That's why we must connect. We must be faithful to fellowship. We can't be isolated. We must connect and we must plug in.